At the family reunion, laughter echoed across the backyard as Derek wrapped his arm around Melissa and said, "Everyone, meet my new wife." People choked on their drinks, waiting for me to break down. Instead, I pulled out a small envelope, handed him the house keys, and whispered, "Che, enjoy if she can help you pack." What he didn't know was that the house wasn't his anymore. Derek and I had been together for 8 years, married for 5. We had this gorgeous colonial house in Maplewood White. Picket fence, rose garden, the whole suburban dream. I was the one who found it, negotiated the price, and yes, put down the entire down payment from my inheritance when my grandmother passed. But here's where I made my first mistake. I trusted love over legal documents. Derek had been going through a career transition when we bought the house. His credit was shot from some bad business investments, so we agreed I'd handle the mortgage application solo. "Just temporary," he said, kissing my forehead. "Once I'm back on my feet, we'll add my name to everything." 5 years later, his name still wasn't on the deed, and thank God for that. The first red flag should have been the late nights at the office. Derek worked in marketing for a mid-sized tech company. Not exactly the kind of job that requires you to be out until 2 a.m. on weeknights, but I trusted him. When you love someone, you make excuses for the inexcusable. Big client presentation. Coming up, team building event ran late. Traffic was insane. I believed every lie because I wanted to. The second red flag was Melissa. She started showing up in his stories more frequently, a new coworker who was really bringing fresh ideas to the team. Then it was lunch meetings that couldn't include me because they were strictly business. Then weekend strategy sessions that somehow always happened at trendy restaurants I'd been wanting to try. But the third red flag, that's what should have been the final straw. I came home early from my book club one Thursday. Our friend Sarah had canceled because her kid was sick. I walked into our bedroom and found Derek's laptop open on the bed. Messages still pulled up on screen. Messages that made my stomach drop through the floor. "Can't wait to wake up next to you every morning once this is all over. The family reunion will be perfect. We can finally stop hiding. She has no idea what's coming. After Sunday, we'll be free." I should have confronted him right then. I should have demanded answers. Thrown him out, burned his clothes in the backyard like they do in movies. Instead, I took pictures of everything and sat in my car for 2 hours, crying until my mascara created abstract art on my cheeks. That night at dinner, Derek was unusually cheerful. "So," he said, cutting into his steak like he hadn't just destroyed our marriage via text message, "I'm really excited about the family reunion on Sunday. I have something special planned." My blood turned to ice water. Something special. It's a surprise. He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. The same hand that had been typing those messages to another woman. "You're going to love it." I smiled and nodded, but inside I was already planning. If Derek thought he could humiliate me in front of our entire extended family, he had another thing coming. Friday morning, I called in sick to work and drove to the county courthouse. Public records, as it turns out, are beautifully transparent when you know what to look for. I pulled everything: the deed to our house, property tax records, mortgage, documents, all in my name, every single document. Then I drove to Derek's office. "I need to speak with HR," I told the receptionist, smiling sweetly. "It's regarding Derek Morrison." 20 minutes later, walked out with copies of Derek's employment file, including a formal complaint filed by another female coworker about inappropriate conduct. Melissa wasn't his first office romance. Wasn't even his second. But here's the kicker. Derek had been telling people at work that he was separated for 6 months, while sleeping in our bed every night and telling me he loved me every morning. Saturday night, I barely slept. Derek was snoring peacefully beside me, probably dreaming about his grand reveal while I stared at the ceiling making mental checklists. Sunday morning, I woke up early and put on my best dress, a navy blue wrap dress that made me feel powerful. I did my hair, perfected my makeup, and smiled at myself in the mirror. If this was going to be a performance, I was going to look the part. Derek was practically bouncing with excitement at breakfast. "You look beautiful," he said, kissing my cheek. "Today's going to be perfect." "I couldn't agree more," I replied, and I meant every word. The Morrison family reunion happens every year at Derek's Uncle Jim's house huge backyard. Perfect for the chaos of 40-plus relatives ranging from toddlers to great-grandparents. I'd been coming to these things for 8 years. These people had watched me graduate law school, celebrated when Derek proposed, toasted our wedding. They loved me. And I was about to need that love. Derek was nervous. I could see it in the way he kept checking his phone. The way his hands shook slightly when he reached for his beer. Around 3 p.m., just when everyone was settling into that comfortable post-barbecue lull, he stood up and clinked his bottle with a fork. "Everyone, can I get your attention for a minute?" Conversations died down. Kids stopped running around. Even the dog seemed to sense something big was happening. Derek cleared his throat and put his arm around Melissa. She'd been there the whole time, introduced as his coworker who didn't have anywhere else to go today. I'd smiled and welcomed her, even complimented her sundress. The family had embraced her warmly because that's what the Morrisons do. They include everyone. "I have an announcement to make," Derek said, his voice carrying across the suddenly quiet yard. "I want you all to meet the woman I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. Everyone, meet my new wife, Melissa." The silence was deafening. I watched 40 pairs of eyes turn from Derek and Melissa to me, waiting for the explosion, the tears, the dramatic collapse they'd probably replay at family gatherings for decades. Instead, I smiled. I reached into my purse, pulled out a small manila envelope, and walked calmly over to Derek. The grass crunched under my heels as every person in that backyard held their breath. "Congratulations," I said loudly enough for everyone to hear, handing him the envelope. "I thought you might need these." Derek opened it with shaking hands. Inside were the keys to our house, every key we'd ever had made, including the spare we hid under the garden gnome. "What? ... What is this?" he stammered. I kept smiling. "Your new life, Derek. You and Melissa are going to need a place to live. Right? The house is empty now. Well, mostly empty." "I left you a few things." Derek's face went white. "What do you mean empty? Oh, did I forget to mention?" I said, my voice sweet as honey but loud enough for everyone to hear. "I moved out yesterday while you were at your work emergency, which, by the way, I called your office to check on. Funny thing, they said you'd taken the day off to help your new girlfriend move into her apartment." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. "But here's the thing, Derek," I continued, really warming up now. "The house was never yours to begin with. Check the deeds in the envelope too. My name only, my down payment, my mortgage, my house." Derek was fumbling through the papers now, his face cycling through confusion, realization, and panic. "I've moved everything out, my things, of course, but also the furniture, the appliances, even the light fixtures. Those were gifts from me to us. But since there is no us anymore, I figured I'd take them to my new place." Melissa was tugging on Derek's arm, whispering urgently, but I wasn't done. "Oh, and Derek, I called your HR department on Friday. Seems like you've been telling people at work that we've been separated for months. They were very interested too. Learned that you've been lying about your marital status, something about a pattern of inappropriate workplace relationships." By now, Derek's entire family was staring at him like they'd never seen him before. His mother was crying. His father looked like he wanted to crawl under the picnic table. "How could you do this?" Derek finally found his voice. In front of my entire family. I tilted my head, genuinely puzzled. "Do what, Derek?" "I'm not the one who brought another woman to a family reunion and called her my wife while still married to someone else. I'm not the one who's been lying and cheating for God knows how long. I'm just ... helping you with your transition." I turned to address the entire crowd. my voice calm and clear. I want you all to know that Derek is free to make his own choices, and I respect that. I also want you to know that I've made mine. For 8 years, I've been part of this family, and you've all been wonderful to me. That doesn't change just because Derek has decided to change his priorities. Derek's Aunt Susan started crying. Uncle Jim was shaking his head. Cousin Danny looked like he wanted to punch Derek in the face. I'll always cherish the memories we've made together. I continued. And I hope you'll understand that I need to focus on my own future now. I walked over to Derek's mom and hugged her. I'm sorry you had to find out this way, Mrs. Morrison. You raised a good son. He just lost his way. Then I turned back to Derek one final time. The utilities are scheduled to be disconnected tomorrow unless you call to put them in your name. The yard service is canceled. Oh, and Derek, I left one thing for you in the bedroom. Consider it a housewarming gift I found. Out later, what Derek discovered when he and Melissa finally got to the empty house that evening. Sitting in the middle of the bare bedroom floor was a small card table. On it, a bottle of champagne, 2 plastic cups, and a manila folder. Inside the folder were printed copies of every text message between Derek and Melissa, every lie he'd told at work, every secret lunch and weekend getaway I'd uncovered in my investigation. Also included were copies of his credit reports, still terrible, his employment file, including that complaint I'd found, and a printout showing exactly how much money I'd put into the house over the years. The final page was a handwritten note. Derek, I hope you and Melissa are very happy together. You're perfect for each other. You both excel at deception and betrayal. The house is yours to figure out now. The mortgage payments are $2,847 per month, due on the 15th. The property taxes are $8,200 annually. Since your name was never on any of the paperwork, you'll need to qualify for a new mortgage or find another solution. I've taken the liberty of consulting with a divorce attorney. You'll be hearing from them soon. Don't contact me. Don't call. Don't text. Don't show up at my new place. I'm done being lied to. P.S. Check your credit report. Melissa's been doing some shopping with the credit card you gave her. Hope it was worth it. Good luck, your ex-wife. 6 months later, I'm living in a beautiful condo downtown, closer to work, with a view of the river and exactly 0 memories of Derek Morrison. The divorce was finalized last month. I kept the house, obviously, my retirement accounts, and my self-respect, Derek. Last I heard, he and Melissa broke up 3 weeks after the reunion when she found out about his financial situation and the debt he'd racked up trying to keep up with her expensive tastes. He's living in a studio apartment and driving for rideshare companies to make ends meet. His family still sends me Christmas cards. The best part? I discovered I'm stronger than I ever imagined. For years, I defined myself as Derek's wife, Derek's partner, part of a unit. Now I'm just me, and it turns out I'm pretty amazing on my own. That family reunion was supposed to be my moment of humiliation. Instead, it became my declaration of independence. And honestly, best Sunday afternoon I've had in years. Sometimes the greatest revenge is simply refusing to be the victim in someone else's story. Derek thought he could rewrite our narrative, with me as the discarded first wife. Instead, I rewrote it with him as the consequences of his own choices. I didn't destroy Derek's life. He did that himself. I just stopped cleaning up his messes. And that, my friends, is the difference between revenge and justice. Revenge is about making someone pay. Justice is about making sure actions have consequences. Derek wanted his family to see his new wife. Instead, they saw exactly who he really was. Mission accomplished.